As part of our strategic plan, in the Rialto Unified School District, we are committed to creating an atmosphere that ensures resources and assets are allocated to directly support students. The recent Young Men's Summit at Kucera Middle School exemplifies this commitment. Today, on the Bridge Podcast, we're thrilled to delve deeper into this unique initiative. Please join us in welcoming our guests, students Miguel, Laguna, and Michael Soto, and Assistant Principal Mr. Nalik Davis, to talk about the Young Men's Summit.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you here, Michael Soto, Miguel, of course, our students, and Mr. Nalik Davis, soon to be Dr. Davis.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to get into it. I attended the first, because there's no first annual, it's redundant, the
Yes.
inaugural
Yes.
Young Men's Summit held at the Kucera Middle School in the Rialto Unified School District. Give me some background history, and I promise I'll come to you two gentlemen in a second.
Yes. It all started with two of our phenomenal counselors, Miss Delgado Brown and Miss Wright. They kind of came to me and they said, our boys really need some help. Our boys are struggling and they have some D's and F's, and we really want to inspire them to kind of do better and give them some hope. And I, when they came into my office, I was like, okay, give me a second to kind of brainstorm. And then we just sat in there for about a good 45 minutes and said, okay, let's do this summit. I know some guys that can come in and come talk and inspire some of these kids. And it kind of just on my board in my office, it was like a map. And we just started just putting this in here and saying, okay, what does this look like with questions? Who can we invite? We have these amazing speakers that will come down and kind of inspire these kids. And we kind of just came up with the vision and the purpose and then just started it from there, kind of grassroots, just scratch, on my board. And that's kind of how it kind of came out of purpose for us.
Excellent. Thank you, Assistant Principal, Mr. Nalik Davis. And I wanted to talk to you, Michael, because he did mention there's a segment of students who, the B's are turning into C's, and then you're falling into this trap of the D's and F. And it's not all students. This is just a selection of them.
Yes.
And they're great young adults. Mm-hmm. But, it happens.
Yeah.
So, Michael, you're a part of the Young Men's Conference at Kucera Middle School.
Yeah.
What is your experience and how have you grown? And is this something you recommend?
Yeah, I've grown a lot since it happened. Before, I was like having D's. I wasn't doing that good. And after I went over there and they taught us how it was and how their experience was and how far they came from having nothing to
Now,
something.
who's they? Is it other students?
Yes,
Excellent. Miguel, Laguna. And by the way, you are in
8th grade.
8th grade.
And
Miguel,
Michael also is honor roll. Just got onto honor roll.
whoa,
Yes.
that's huge.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Did he just find this out right here on the podcast?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's why he's looking at you like, are you sure about
Yes.
that? Well, congratulations.
Thank
you.
Miss Bump, okay. And I'll get back to you on that. Miguel Laguna,
Yes.
8th grade student, also a member of the Young Men's Summit. Talk to me about your experience.
My experience I had with the Young Men's Summit, I had a really great experience. I had a lot of fun. And it really, it really helped me.
It hit you.
Yeah, it hit me, and my mind told me to do better. Just do better. In life and everything else.
I think sometimes we internalize and think we have it rough. All of a sudden, reality hits and goes, oh, well, I have my own bedroom. I have my own bathroom. And so I should be counting my blessings, not my problems. So did you kind of feel that way as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have some stats or data? Because I know that this is the first year we have done the Young Men's Conference or Summit at Kucera Middle School. What are some of our stats without getting into names?
Yeah, so we track this data. Our two counselors have been tracking this data since the beginning of the year. And we had 196 young men that came to the summit. And out of that 196, we've seen a 30.1 actually, decrease in students that had D's and F's. So it's a small step, but it's a small step in the right direction. When we were putting this together, we said, even if it affects 2 or 3 students, it is a win for us. And it affected over 30 to 40 students with that percentage. And that's just a phenomenal seeing these 2 students and just moving forward and doing better. It was truly worth it everything that we put into it.
Excellent. So, Michael, where did you go to elementary school?
I went to elementary to about 5 different elementaries, but around Rialto it was Dunn and Warner.
Warner and Dunn. And where do you come from? Miguel?
I went to Fitzgerald Elementary School.
Fitzgerald. Okay, great. So now that you're in the Young Men's Conference or the summit, do they stay in it? Is it like a annual and then they get out of it, or do they just get to come in and listen to some of the guest speakers and have that motivational piece?
Yeah, so they're 8th graders and they're going to be moving on to Carter. So they're going to be, awesome and doing good things in high school. But for the students next year that were 7th graders and 6th graders that were in the Young Men's Summit, will most definitely take part in the one that we will have next year for them.
And is it 3 classes? Is it 4 times a year? Is it once a week, once a month? What's the motivational piece? What is the program?
So this year was our first year doing it, so we didn't have like a really good plan as far as how many years it would be.
Oh, well, with the 30% increase, you had a great plan.
Yes. Now we know for sure it'll at least be once a semester. And we do want to plan a women's summit and do kind of the same type of thing that we did with our young men next year. So
You're
we'll have
speaking my language.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll have a women's summit and then we'll have our men's summit. And our men's summit will most definitely be either first semester and second semester.
Excellent. So, Michael, what do you want to be I want to give this question to both of you, to Miguel and to Michael. What is your aspiration once you go to Carter and graduate high school? College is in your future, and what would you want to do?
After when I get into high school and when I get into Carter, I want to play football and I want to get a scholarship. And when I get a scholarship, after I'm done, I graduate high school, I want to go to college. I want to play in the NFL too. I want to,
Well, you're in a good start because at Wilmer Amina Carter, Kenny Clark is a defensive end for the Green Bay Packers. And so he is a graduate of 2012, I would want to say, Carter High School, and he's living that dream. So it's not too far away. Yeah. Check into that. It's an excellent dream to have. And I'm glad that you're saying you want to get that scholarship because your education is your meal ticket. What about you, Michael?
I kind of have like 2 for me, but they're like backups a bit.
Okay. Give me 2. Give me 3. I'm good with it.
My first one is a realtor. And
A realtor?
Since my dad kind of knows half the realtor, like what happens like when the market crashes and when to buy houses. So
we got a business major here, okay?
Yes.
And so when you buy them, you sell them to people since the economy is so big right now. You want to find what's the cheapest, but not really at the same time because
We need to talk after this is done.
Yes, he's good.
Okay, and then the next one?
My next one is law because I want to do criminal justice because most of the time people can be telling the truth, but they're often seen as a liar.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, he wants to
These
find
are
the
some
truth.
very bright students that I have in front of us. So on this podcast, it's also very important for us to talk about your inspiration. Who do you get inspiration from? Do you get some motivation from your siblings, from your parents, your grandparents? Is there someone you look up to?
I personally get my motivation just from my grandpa.
What's his name?
We call him Jose. That's his name.
Okay.
But I call him Papa Jose. You know,
Okay.
and I get my motivation from Papa Jose, which is my grandpa, and my dad, my mom, and my brother and my cousin, which his name is Brandon.
Okay.
And it really motivates me when they tell me things I could do. Like I really like. And they say they talk about football and stuff. Like I really love that.
Who's your player? Who do you like in football for the NFL?
For the NFL,
Who's your team?
49ers.
49ers. Oh wow, Miss Ortiz and you are on the same page on that
Yes.
Should be the Cowboys, but it's okay.
one. Yeah, no, he wants a winning team. Yeah.
Well, we do have winners.
So 49ers.
Yes.
Well, you know that Ronnie Lott. Yes, also graduated from Eisenhower High School. He's hitting
All of
you're
them.
doing well. Yeah, you're hitting all of them. And he was an NFL player. But what a lot of people don't understand that when Ronnie Lott went to Frisbee, he also went to Bemis. He also went to Eisenhower. Ronnie Lott was an honor roll student. So he always put the grades before the athletics. And so they were hand in hand, but you got to get those grades, and that's great. That's wonderful. What about you, Michael? Where do you get your inspiration from?
My inspiration most of the time comes from my dad.
What's his name? Mr. Soto.
Yeah. Well, his real name is Julian, but it's my dad, so I call him my dad. So most of my inspiration comes from him. Sometimes most of the time he tells me to push, but sometimes I don't. But then sometimes I also feel that inspiration because he really does think highly of me. And sometimes, I push myself because how much he plans my future. Because I know he's planning my future already, but all I have to do is push myself. So I think that's where most of my inspiration comes from.
And I'm going to, because this was so organic and it was so holistic the way it just came out from our assistant principal of Kucera Middle School, Mr. Davis. He said you're at that cusp of the D's and F, and all of a sudden, within 6 months or so forth, you are on the honor roll. Come a little closer to the microphone. Tell me, and I don't want to put you on the spot, so but this is a positive thing. Tell me what inside of you made you realize I need to get on the honor roll.
Well, one of the reasons is because, I'm gonna go back here a little.
You're going to go where?
I'm going to go back here a little, like when I was younger.
Okay.
So when I was younger, I came from a really rough neighborhood.
Okay.
Because we didn't have that much money at the time. And my parents trying to look for jobs.
Right.
And since I'm older now and I have a lot of stuff, I have a house and I get all this stuff. And I feel like at least I can do is make them proud and get my grades up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry, but that's great. Awesome. That is just wonderful. What an inspiration you are.
Yes.
When they view this podcast, people will realize that you're a person who's taking disabilities and turning them into capabilities.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking out for you, wide receiver.
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
I must ask you
Uh-huh.
a little bit of history. We know that your grandfather taught at Frisbee Middle School, Mr. Harper.
Yes.
James Harper.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit because you also went to Henry Elementary School.
I did.
We don't want to talk about where you went to high school. You went into Fontana,
Yeah,
other areas.
yeah.
But your experience at Rialto High as a student.
Yeah, it was good. I was a troublemaker. I'm not gonna lie about that. Actually, our Dr. Gibbs' sister was my principal.
Rhea McIver Gibbs,
Yes.
our lead strategic agent.
Yes,
in the
she was
district.
her sister was my principal.
That would be Robin.
Robin.
Dr. Robin McIver.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So
Okay.
and I was in trouble a lot. And my grandpa tried to help and rescue me a lot of times.
As a teacher?
As a teacher. And
Was
he
it
was there.
English, math?
English. Yeah.
Okay.
And it got to one point where it just didn't work anymore. So I remember being in her office and she was like, okay, well, you got to make some choices here. My mom was in there and she was crying. And she was like, well, you can go to Fontana or we can, move forward with some other consequences.
You made your mama cry.
I did. But I made her proud now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I had to transfer to Fontana.
So this young men's summit that we're talking about at Kucera Middle School comes from a place in your heart.
Yes.
You see yourself in a lot of these students.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that where am I going? I'm not trying to be psychologically
No.
inclined here,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take much to realize that you're giving back in that way.
Yeah, you're spot on. When Miss Delgado Brown and Miss Wright brought this in my office, there was a fire lit inside of me because they were reaching out to the same kid that I used to be them. I had 26 Fs, I had 26 referrals, I had I had to sign a waiver in high school.
PhD and Fs, huh?
Yes, I did. I had to sign a waiver in high school in order to play sports.
Right.
So I've been through there. I got kicked out of college and I had an F in school and I had to get dropped out. So I've been through all of that. And when they brought this into my office, I put everything aside and said, we are going to do this. Whatever you guys need, I'm here to support you. And we knocked it out the park and we reached students, and that's what it's all about. It's all about them.
Absolutely. And we do put in Rialto Unified School District,
Yes.
Students are the center of
They're
our existence.
everything,
That we,
yes.
all our staff members are here to support you
Yeah.
at every level.
Mhm.
And so it's a great approach.
Yeah.
I congratulate you on your honor roll. I
Thank you.
congratulate you for getting your grades up, young man.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you guys doing great things in the future, going on to Wilhelmina Carter, which is an exceptional high school as well. We have one of 4 exceptional ones in Rialto Unified. You're in good hands with Mr. Davis, but
Yes.
Mr. Davis, I know you talked about, you went to college.
Mm-hmm.
What is your aspiration? Because I'm going to come back to both of you, because I'm going to ask both of you, Miguel and Michael. Give me one word that describes you, but I'm going to first ask your assistant principal,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Davis, give me a little bit of your background, because I know that you were a teacher, ethnic studies at Eisenhower High School. When did you come to the RUSD?
Yes, so I came to RUSD about 6 years ago. Me and another teacher that actually got the job at the same time, we were commuting from LA every single day. And there was a job fair here in Rialto, because we had given the golden handshake. And I was sitting at the bench. I had got there, and I was the first person there, actually. And I was sitting on the bench, and I was trying to just wait until my turn came up. And Rhea came out, Dr. Gibbs came out, and she looked at me, and she was like, "It looks like you need a job." And I said, I do. And she pulled me in, and I interviewed with actually Dr. Sweeney first. And then Dr. Sweeney sent me over to Dr. Camacho.
Caroline Sweeney, who is the principal of Rialto High School now.
And then she sent me over to Dr. Camacho, which is the former principal of Eisenhower. And he was like, "I love everything, and we're going to hire you." So it was cool. I was sad because I was the first person there, and I didn't get called or anything like that. So I was sitting there for about a good 3-4 hours, and people were coming out smiling, and they got jobs and stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to get a job, you know. But luckily, Rhea, and again, it's kind of interesting how that all worked. Rhea saw me. But my ending aspiration is to be a superintendent. I think that, like, these guys have been inspired by Dr. Avila and a few people in our district as well. Like Dr. Camacho and Dr. Busiaga have really just been spoken into my life.
And the gentlemen that you are mentioning in ed services are also a part of the Young Men's Summit, because you asked them to come over and speak and motivate our young scholars.
Yes, they were a part of it, and they've really been an inspiration in my life. And I push to be like them, and push to be, you know, to give back like they do with these young men as well.
You're in good hands.
Yes.
So, okay, so I am going to keep it fair and equitable. We're going to make sure that we have Mr. Davis do the same thing. But if you were to describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
One word that can describe me?
Yes, future Hall of Famer Mr. Miguel Luna.
One word.
I know it's hard, because you're thinking of a sentence, you're thinking of a couple words.
Yes.
Narrow it down to one word.
One word to describe me is just nice.
Nice.
Not nice,
A
you know.
plus, okay.
Yeah, A+, yep.
That's important.
Yes.
One word that can describe me is
Take your time, it's not a quiz.
sorry.
We are live, but that's okay. Keep listening, it's exciting.
Well, I'm not trying to down myself, an overthinker.
Overthinker, wow. See, this is the honor roll
That's good.
coming out in him. And what about you, Mr. Davis?
Passionate, I would say. Passionate.
Okay, and I think we all three have that, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I want to thank you for being on the show. I look forward to seeing you move on in your promotions to Carter High School.
Yes.
And then maybe before you graduate, would you like to come back to the Bridge podcast?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. And is there anything that I missed that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think this is
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
doing wonderful things there
I
at Ethel
appreciate it.
Kucera with the Young Men's Summit. And I look forward next year, and I really look forward to attending the Women's Conference
Yes,
as well.
most definitely. You'll be there.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I want to thank you for joining us. I'm Saida Joffrey. Until next time on the Bridge Podcast.